jewelry makers. My name is Joey Balistreri and I am over the moon in love. I have received my curated bead box for the month of February and the title is Pure Passion, and this little thumbnail was exciting enough, but I absolutely love this month's box. It is my style, right up my alley. It is hearts and roses, and I'm not sure that I understand the little black glass seashells unless it's supposed to be like chocolates and flowers, maybe that company that makes chocolate seashells. But I'm going to do an expedited unboxing because I'm going to jump right into a project. And in fact, as I was unboxing and setting this up to give you an overview of the box, I came up with 3 projects right off the top of my head. So the first one that jumped out at me were these fabulous rose links, and I think I am going to take 3 of them, maybe 4, I'll see what my length is, and make a bracelet out of those. And then I love the little stardust silver spacer beads. I absolutely love this type of a bead. I have them in gold and I've used them in a lot of my past projects. And we got 4 of these sweet little tags that say made with love. So if you're making gifts, you can add that in somewhere. They're really pretty hanging from a clasp. And I was thrilled to see that we got these 6-0 ruby seed beads because I already had a project in mind that I was going to do with my own seed beads, and I've done a sample for you, but I'm going to recreate it using these little seed beads. And then we got this lovely bead mix with fabulous black cube beads in it, and just I just love this bead mix. Even I happen to love pink and red, and I just have to say something about this month's box. Curated bead box is a value box, and so normally we get this sort of thing. We get glass pearls or these glass drizzle beads, which we got in red and silver this month, and we usually get a lot of strands in different sizes of the marble style glass beads, and this one is particularly beautiful in this month's box and I will be using it. But this month we got 2 gemstones in the box. There were 5 of these black onyx gemstone beads. They are incredible, the weight to them, and your gemstones just feel so good against your skin. So I don't have an exact plan for these yet, but I am thrilled to have them. I love them. They are gorgeous. Let me just take one and give you a close-up view. So for those of you who don't subscribe to this box, it is a value box. The price is amazing, and I have been getting this box for years before I was uploading videos to YouTube, and I highly recommend it. It's one of my boxes. So we also got a strand of rose quartz beads, which happens to be one of my favorite gemstones, but a lot of times rose quartz can even look white, but look at the beautiful color in this strand of rose quartz. It is gorgeous. And the other thing that was a little bit special this month, we got these little rondelle shaped, a whole strand of these little rondelle shaped beads, which I completely love. And this is quite different. I cannot ever recall getting this type of a bead in this box. And then we got a package of 6 to 8 millimeter glass red beads, and they are also gorgeous. I just love them. And this was our little focal pendant in this month's box. And you know what jewelry maker doesn't love hearts? I can never have enough hearts in my supplies. So this is going to be a necklace project. So I'm going to do a pair of earrings, a necklace, and a bracelet out of this month's box. That's a quick unboxing and overview. One last thing, in the findings part that we always get a findings kit with curated bead box. It includes ear wire, stretch cord, memory bracelet memory wire, some bead stringing wire, and some crimp beads and jump rings and head pins. It's fabulous for everyone, but if you're just starting out and you don't have a good supply of these necessary things for your designs, it is fabulous to have a little sampling of everything. And then we got another kind of unusual finding in this month's box, these little cords for making glass chains or sunglass chains. And I actually had this on my to-do list to make a couple of chains for myself. I haven't done any since the pandemic. I did chains for masks, and I need to do some for glasses. So it was thrilling to get this little bonus in this month's box. So this is a super exciting box for me. I love pink and red. I have done many past projects in pink and red, and so I just love the colors of them. I'm just thrilled. This bead mix is fabulous. Love this. I love these. Love these marble style look at those three together. I think this is going to make its way into my necklace project. I'm crazy about this. I mean, this is just for me a really exciting box. So let me just give you a quick peek at what my first project is going to be. As I said, I had in my mind to make these heart earrings before I received my box, and then when I saw that we got these beautiful ruby seed beads in the box, that was just perfect timing. Like Curated bead box read my mind. So this little earring project is creating your own hearts with 22 gauge wire and connecting them. I did the seed beads alternating, and I also did my earrings as a mirror, which I like to do, where they're mirroring each other and the seed beads are altering. But you can also fill the entire wire with seed beads, or you could put a little focal bead on here. But these are super lightweight, and you could actually continue. You could do as many drops as you want. A little charm here would be really pretty on the final heart. But we're going to make a pair of these together using some 22 gauge wire and some of these seed beads. So let me clean up my mat, and I will be right back to start the first project. I have organized my mat and pulled out some of the things we're going to need and the tools that I'm going to need. Now, for making these little hearts, I love this little mandrel set. It came in a set of 2. The other one is a lot smaller. I'll show it to you. I use these are really for making jump rings, but I use them when I'm doing ear cuffs. I use them when I'm doing these hearts, the little top little round part of the hearts. It makes it really easy to get them perfect. And what I love about them is that I can take my rubber mallet and I can hammer right on this to work harden, and also if I want to smooth out the wire. So I'm going to be using the larger of the 2, but you could also use a bail making plier. You could use a marker, some kind of a Sharpie marker that, you know, has the size you're going for. And then always when I'm working with wire, I have my little nylon jaw pliers handy. They really help not to mess up the wire and mar it, and so I always keep those on hand as well. And then our regular jewelry tools. And I have decided to mix gold and silver in my heart earrings. I'm going to use 22 gauge medium tempered German style wire from Beaded for my heart shape. And then I'm going to use these little seed beads and some of these little stardust beads just to add a little sparkle in my hearts. And they're going to, you know, have that little appearance of silver on the gold wire. So I am loving that. So I did not actually measure. I gave myself maybe 5 inches of wire and 2 pieces that are exactly the same. And that is my tip for making earrings, is do them both at the same time. Try to hold your wires together and do everything side by side. Double it and do it at the same time, and then you don't have to stress about your second earring matching the shape of the first one. It will be the same if you do them the same. And I'm just going to make sure that they are both the same length and both have a nice clean cut on the end, and just get these 2 wires in my fingers and just warm them. I'm going to start with a little bit of an arch, but you'll adjust that as you go forward. And you know, there are a lot of ways to make wire hearts. This is one of the versions that I like to do, but there's a lot of ways to do this. So if you have a different way and it works for you, do that. Maybe you want to just try this way if you never have. So I am going to start by making this middle part, the little V in the heart. That's going to be the first part of it. And to do that, I'm going to come in with a pair of my chain nose pliers, and I don't need to be right in the middle. One side of the earrings can be longer because we're going to create the spiral there. And so I'm going to come down maybe a third of the way, leaving 2/3 here for, oops, my other wire got away from me. So it is a little tricky sometimes, especially on this finer gauge wire, to hold them together. But in the end, I think it is much easier to do that than it is to make one earring and then try to duplicate the other one on the other side. So, and it does become easier as you get your first bend in. So I'm going to come down about a third of the way, maybe a little more than a third, and just together at the same time, just bend those wires together. Now keep in mind that the depth of this is going to be the depth of your heart. So let me take my my nylon jaw pliers and just pinch these two together, and I'm still holding those wires together with my thumb and just gently getting them to go together. And so you can see that they are side by side, so this will really help to have two earrings that match perfectly. And also from here, I'll just say from here, you can decide if you want to have, like on this pair, I decided that my top hearts would be symmetrical and pretty perfect, and then I veered off on my second one and did sort of lopsided hearts, sort of free form floating hearts. So you can decide, they don't have to be perfect hearts. And so what I'm going to do is do this strange, I don't want to get the wires, I want them beside each other, but I don't want them to be tangled up. Let me take that one out of there. So what I'm going to do is, maybe I do need to do one of these at a time. I did those together. I'm going to gently pull. So if you can see, it's crossed over, but I'm just going to gently pull, and so it's upside down now. This is going to be the dip. I'm actually forming the humps, or the top round part of the heart. And so again, since we're making earrings, I'll do that one and then do the same thing on this one. Do them exactly the same if I can. I'll put them back together. And you know what I find with any kind of wire work, because I am not like a wire artist, but I have learned as I do pieces that if I don't skip the step of warming and smoothing the wire, that my wire behaves and does what I want it to do more easily. And I have also learned to take my time and go slow and not rush through shaping my wire, because when I start to get in a rush and stop enjoying the process, that's when I start making unwanted marks in my wire, and that's when I start having problems. So I'm just using my finger to start that little loop, and again just putting them right on top of each other so that what I do to one, the other wire will be pretty close to that. And so I'm going to, this one got a little misshapen. Let me take this one separate. I have also found that even though my nylon jaw pliers are not rounded, that sometimes if I've gotten a little unwanted bend, I can very easily straighten that out with those nylon jaw pliers. I also have a little bend right here that I'm not happy with. So, like I said, just take your time and be the boss of the wire. And so I'm going to once again realign my two earrings, and it is a little tricky. I won't lie, it is a little tricky to hold on to them. I also want to look at to make sure I've got those pretty close to the same, and just do what you have to do to line them up. And I'm going to bring my mandrel in and start with this loop and just get them. I like that shape, but if you don't like it, you can still play with it. And I'm going to switch to this other side. Actually, I need to bring this down just a bit more. just a little bit more. Just put them back on there. Oh, and I'll show you at this point that this is where, if you want to, with this mandrel, you can hammer on it. So I really like that about this mandrel. Let me get my little hammer and I'll show you. So I have this rubber mallet, and so if I want to work harden or even sort of adjust the shape, you know, which it's hard to do if you're using a marker or even if you're using a bail making plier, it can be a little bit hard to hammer, but I can hammer right on these mandrels, and I really like that because it does, let me not bend my other wires, it does work harden, and if I've gotten a little kink or anything misshapen, I can keep that wire right on the mandrel and just hammer a little bit, and you know, it just makes, look how beautiful, it just makes it easier to work with the wire. So I'm going to kick this out just a little bit. Again, I'm keeping them both with my fingers, and sorry about the phone notification going off in the background. Sometimes it is so difficult to have quiet when I'm filming, but I know you are all familiar with life. It happens to all of us, so I try to ignore it and keep going. But I know sometimes when you're watching a video and you hear a phone notification, you look for your phone and think yours has gone off. It was in the background. Okay, let me just take it off and have a look. Oh, it is beautiful. I love my two little hearts. Look how pretty they are. Really nice. So I think I'm going to stop there, and if you see what I did, I have dyslexia, so this is sometimes a challenge for me, and I'll try not to be confusing, but I like my earrings to be mirrored. You don't have to do that. If you like them to be exactly the same, you can, but I like them to be mirrored, so here's where I will do this and, you know, have them so that they're going that way on the ears. So now let's get our spiral in. So if you want to do what I did on these, you can go ahead and do the spiral on one side and string beads on the other side. If you want to string beads on both sides, now is the time to do that. So I think that I am actually going to do these differently. I think I'm going to string my beads on this outer wire and leave this one plain. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Let me take out some of these beautiful ruby beads, and my idea was just to put one little silver bead in between. So let me just string on a few of these. I like that these are a little bit larger. So pretty. And since I want to mirror the other side, I just need to count 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I'll do the little silver stardust bead. I love the silver little pop in there on the gold wire, but you could do this with silver wire. 3, 4, 5, 6, and let's see where I am. Oh, that is so pretty. I love it. I think, let me see. Do I want to make it a bit longer? Just pull it in and see where I'm at. I think 6 and 6 is going to be pretty. So now I just want to get my spiral in there, and if we're going to hang another jump ring and another heart, then you want to leave a little opening in the center of your spiral, and this might be a little bit too much wire for that, but if I cut it, I want to cut the other side the same so that I don't have to measure anything when I begin the spiral on my second earring. So I'm just going to line those up and trim a little bit, but trim them together. Just cover that so it doesn't go into my eye. Okay. Yeah, I just had a little bit extra length. It's not wasted wire because you actually need a little wire to work with, or it becomes quite difficult. And I think I'm going to spiral backwards because I want to have a little twist. And like I said, I'm leaving a little bit of a hole. I don't want to make that too tight because if I plan to hang another heart from it, I need to be able to get my jump ring in there. Well, sometimes I can do a spiral with my nylon jaw pliers, and sometimes it doesn't work. I can't get a good enough grip with the nylon jaw pliers. It's actually working today. I try to use these when I'm doing this sort of wire work because it really saves you from marring your wire. So I'm just going to spiral all the way up to my beads. And you might want to leave a little bit of space because we need to connect this other side to it. Oh, I am loving that. That is so pretty. And what I did on my other ones is just put a little bend in this spiral, and that gave me a place to get my other wire connected to it. So I'm just going to get in there and just bend that spiral back a little bit. And you know, you could hammer this at this point if you wanted to, or you can work harden your spiral by opening and closing your pliers. And there again, if you wanted to string beads on this side, now would be the time to do it. I think I am going to do mine the same way as I did my little sample. Make my little adjustment to the middle of my heart. And I'm just going to coax this around. And let me get back to my mirrored effect so that I can remember how I did it. So I'm going to put this empty side of my heart on top of this other wire. It's until you lock it in place, it will be a little challenging to hold on to it, but I'm just going to hold it like that and get a hold of the end of this wire and just lock it into place. So it's already cooperating a little bit. It's 22 gauge wire, so this should not be too difficult. Now this one ended up a tiny bit short, so you can either do just one little loop, or if you can go around again. So let me just stop here for a second. So on this one, I was able to get a couple of wraps in because of the way my wire landed on the other side, and this one is a bit tighter, so I might only get one in, but you know, those are the little design decisions that we always make as we're creating our projects. So pretty. I'm going to pull this over a little bit. I'll adjust this one, but so there I have my first little misshapen heart. I actually love it. I think it's beautiful. And now I'm going to do the exact same thing on this side. So I'm going to leave this side blank. Let me not get, oh, I turned. I'm going to do this one this way. So I'm going to leave this side blank, and I'm going to string the same beads that I did. And these little 6/0 seed beads are not all uniform. Some are fat, some are a little bit skinny. So they wouldn't be great for any kind of a bead weaving project because they are not consistent in size, but they are perfect for this. While I was finishing my second heart, I started to think about how I want to do my pattern on the other one, and I pulled from the bead mix these little red, I don't know, what are they, oval shaped beads with a little silver ring around them. So I think I'm not going to repeat seed beads on this end, but do another little pattern. And so this is where you can decide if you want this heart to be smaller or larger. And so I'm going to go for maybe about the same size or therein because I'm going up in size on my beads. So I am going to repeat the same thing again, where I start by making that little V in the heart. It's the same thing where I am keeping those two wires together so that my hearts will match. And I'm going to use my nylon jaw pliers on them at the same time and just give them a pull. I've been sitting here warming the wire a little bit. It's just a really important step. And so my heart is upside down at this point. That sounds like a sad love song. My heart is upside down. Sorry, that's a really bad joke. I'm just having fun with making these hearts. So I'm going to separate them a little bit and just check them out. I don't mind this heart being a bit bigger just because I'm moving up to that larger bead, larger than those 6/0 seed beads. And I'm going to repeat the same thing. So this just works so well. This particular heart is turning out great. And I'm just going to repeat that same thing. Just bring that mandrel in and holding those wires together, make that first round of my heart. So I want to do that same thing again where I flip them so that they are mirrored. Let me move everything up. Also, while I was finishing the second earring, I made the design decision to use the silver ear wires that are in the box, and also to use a silver jump ring to connect my two hearts. So that way in my design, my gold and silver are alternating all the way down the earring. That is one of my tricks for a beautiful design, is that your elements are sort of evenly dispersed and they continue to reappear through the entirety of the design. It just gives a nice alternating, very planned out look. Even, you know, just consistency, I think, is what I'm trying to say. So I think they're going to end up looking like that as the mirror. And since I did beads on this side, this time I'm going to do this little pattern on this side. So let me do that first. Let me string on my little stardust bead, and these are going to sort of be floating because I'm not filling up the whole wire on this side of the heart. And so now at this point I can go ahead and lock this into place, and I do like the wrapped effect, and since I left myself enough wire to do that, I think I am going to do a couple of wraps here before I make my spiral. So I'm just going to use the second part of my heart as my core wire and just wrap that. Just want to move that onto the top. Just wrap that around. I'm going to do the same thing, kind of smooth and warm this wire going in the opposite direction of my heart. You have a look to see that I maintained the shape. It's flipping around. Oops, it did flip. Now this time I do want a nice tight spiral because I'm not hanging another thing from it. So I started my loop and just went in and removed a little bit of it so that the center of this one is nice and small. And because it is good if you can use your nylon jaw pliers for this type of a thing so that you don't make marks on your wire, but sometimes on a really small spiral that's really tight, and with this finer gauge wire it is very difficult to get a hold of things well enough to really make a beautiful spiral. So that is what that one looks like, and I love it. I think it looks great, and I just want to repeat the same thing on this side. They look fabulous, and now we're just going to put everything together. So there's not much to the connecting. Sorry, let me clear away some of the things on my work surface. There's the only really thing to keep in mind about this is your hearts are not hanging straight up and down. So wherever you attach your ear wire on one side, you want to attach it in the same place. So I'm going to go after the fourth bead and attach my ear wire. I'm going to attach it in the same spot on this side. You open your ear wire just like a jump ring, And I'm going to go after the fourth bead on this side and close it really well. And then we just put our jump ring in the middle of our spiral and attach it to our bottom heart. I love the alternation of gold and silver. A lot of our boxes these last couple of months have done that, and Curated Bead Box did that, giving us gold and silver findings in one box, and it is a nice 2024 update. So they are hanging so beautifully. So here is our beautiful pair of heart earrings. I love them. I think they are gorgeous. I know it's difficult to see when I hold them this way, but I'll get some pictures up at the end of the video so that you can see how pretty they are. And I am going to do one more little bonus earring and show you an idea that I had. So I'm just going to cut a length around 4 or 5 inches. You can adjust that if you want a bigger heart. And I'm going to just do one earring just to show you my idea. I'm just going to warm that wire and do that exact same thing that we have been doing, coming down about 1/3 of the way and getting a little bend in that wire. Just coax it together. Use my nylon jaw pliers to tighten this. Will be the very middle of the heart, so I want it to be as pretty as I can get it. And then I'm just going to warm and curve these two, the bow of the heart. I always have trouble. Is it the hump, the loop, I think sounds nice to call it the bow of the heart, or the arch of the heart. Okay, let me straighten that out a little bit and tighten it as much as I can. So this is where, you know, just take your time and make the heart shape that you like. Play with it until you're happy with the heart shape. And so my idea was to make some wire hoops that are heart-shaped. And how that would work is your longer piece of wire would be empty and it will go through the ear. So I'm going to kind of shape that into a nice arc, because that will be the part that goes on your ear. And I'll put my mandrel in right about there and wrap that around. Let's see. Oh yeah, that is perfect. Let's pull it out just a little bit, and I'm going to bend this one in just a little bit. And I'm just going to use some of these same seed beads and just string on a little group of seed beads. On this design, we would do our spiral on this end. So I'm just going to take my round nose pliers and spiral backwards. I do want a really nice tight spiral on this earring, so I'm going to clip away that end of my spiral and tighten up that loop. Just make a really beautiful, nice tight loop. I think I will try. I've moved up to the 20 gauge wire, so maybe I can get a good grip on it with my nylon jaw pliers. We'll see. Try to do that if I can, because it does keep the wire nice and unmarked. Just spiral all the way back to my beads. And then from here, this will be the part that goes in the ear. So what I will do is trim this right about there. And then I'm going to take a pair of flat nose pliers and just kick that out like an ear wire. And I also have this little battery operated, it has a little cup on the end, and let's see, it just has a little battery in it, and it's a rounder for the end of wire. And so it makes it so that there's nothing sharp. Perfect. So that was another little earring idea. So this part will go in your ear, and this part is your little heart hoop that hangs in the front. And if you wanted to add a charm or something from the front, you certainly could. So I'm going to put pictures up at the end of this little heart hoop idea as a little bonus project. And I have 2 more projects to do with this month's fabulous curated bead box. I have a mess on my table, but these are the sweetest little heart earrings. And you know, as always, you can make these designs your own by doing only one heart, doing one heart and hanging a charm from here. You could do 3, 4, 5, 6. You could make shoulder dusters if you continue to add hearts to the length of your earrings. So just make this your own, have fun with it, and I will be back with another video from our beautiful passion, what was it called? Our beautiful Pure Passion bead box from Curated Bead Box for February. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you in the next video.